So, hello, I'm back again to talk about American domestic politics. So, this is going to be about the tragic loss and legacy of Jesse Jackson, which, if you look more in the history of him, I would encourage you to. Um, he was truly a warrior for civil rights, and may his soul rest in peace. I wish his family well. Um, he was suffering, though, so he did leave a mark on this country, and he was the one that started the Rainbow Coalition in 1984 during the Reagan era, um, warning against trickle down politics, warning about continued racial and social injustice. He was the true warrior of the progressive movement, and he also endorsed Bernie Sanders in 2016 when Bernie first ran for president. Um, I would say they truly had a lot in common as far as progressive values. Uh, Obviously, legacy wise, Jesse Jackson has deeper roots, even though. But Jesse Jackson's literally been. He was like a true humanitarian. He was a good person. Now, I know people have heard stories about his family getting caught up in scandals and stuff too, sure. But that doesn't necessarily define who he is as a person. He rescued hostages from foreign countries. He did things that would be presidents would have never done, or including presidents we had. He far exceeded making lives better for millions of people in this country more than any president would have ever done, because he actually cared. He actually gave a crap. And I mean, he rescued hostages. All right. He fought tooth and nail for true social and economic justice in this country. I mean, he was a truly good person who cared about the humanity of our existence. And I don't think people give these historic legends as much credit as they deserve. And they're always painted in the eyes of being polarizing figures. And again, our politics is always painted left versus right instead of just right versus wrong, and what true moral clarity is. And true moral clarity would be the people that are fighting the fight day and night for true justice for all. And that includes acknowledging what's flawed and corrupt about our system, acknowledging that our failed capitalist system is failing the American people. Um, and that's why I say the politics of division is always deflection and distraction. That's the point. They paint these figures as controversial, so they distract you from the real issues you're dealing with at hand. And again, he was also painted as polarizing in many ways to people's minds, and I'll tell you why. Because the stigma and racism still exist in America, whether we acknowledge it or not. I mean, let's face it, a black political figure, just like a black person in America, faces racial bias. People always look at him in a different lens than they look at other people. So if they ever speak out about something, people paint them as angry, you know. But even if they were angry, it's justified. You understand what their roots and struggles were, you know. But they also understand the class struggles deeper than any of us do, because their people and their ancestry face so much more than we have. And we should appreciate that carried experience because they lived it. So they speak truth to power, and sometimes the rest of us don't want to hear it because we're caught up in our own world, in our own bubble, and politics is painted as such a polarizing light. And especially if they deal with the racial biases they deal with in society, the media, the political consultants, the elite class, you know, the wealthy white racist, the far right will all come out and paint these people as politically polarizing. Now, I'm sure they'll be saying nice, glorifying things about him now suddenly because he passed away. Jesse Jackson. Of course, because they want to look good. So, my words to those people, though, is don't even put his name in your mouth. Because you guys don't carry the values of what Jesse Jackson carried. Okay? You guys out there who attacked him relentlessly did not care about the values he cared and fought for. So just like Martin Luther King, I don't want these people putting Jesse Jackson in their mouth, acting like, oh, well, he's this. No, we don't want to hear it, because none of y'all wanted to strive and fight for what he fought for. And matter of fact, some of you out there are pushing back against the progress he's been fighting for. All right. But I want to remind people, yes, I was a Bernie fan too. I like Bernie Sanders. But I'm also glad to see more younger generations of minority progressive candidates running for office. I always knew Bernie would never win the nomination. I did like Bernie. I just think he wasn't the candidate to truly build the coalition for the movement. He started a lot of it. But really the person who started it was truly Jesse Jackson. I think we forget that. And if you look at history, it's always been a progressive person of color who has started all these movements that were carried on by other people. And we have to fully appreciate that and understand that. And I'm glad there is going to be future generations of people that will represent exactly the diversity of this country and the legacy of what Jesse Jackson started like 40 years ago. Okay, we're going back. Jesse Jackson did the whole Rainbow Coalition. That was literally the year before I was born. Wild, right? I was born in 85. So, yeah. I mean, but he originally started the blueprint for the progressive movement, especially running in presidential and congressional elections. You know, it was actually Jesse Jackson. But he'll be greatly missed. We will miss him, his presence, his legacy, and his legacy will carry on through the true progressive movement for the more perfect union that this country greatly needs, through younger generations and faces of new people. And I'm glad to see that happen. It always takes one person going way back, or a few people going way back, or several people that push these movements before they actually launch forward. But these fights have been had years ago. It's just a lot of people wouldn't listen. Now we're at the point of our country where the tide's about to turn, because we're all realizing now the real fight in this country is class. It's not race, culture, politics, and all these other things that we've been distracted by. It's class. But we also have to understand what's denied us the great things in this country is the elite class has divided us so brilliantly. Whether it's through race, culture, politics, you have it. Okay? And we're all realizing that now. This country is starting to realize that. And actually, God's honest truth, institutional racism does exist, and it has denied all of us the great progress we deserve in this country. So that's all I want to say in this video. And again, rest in peace and in power, Jesse Jackson. Love y'all. Have a great day, great night. See you later. Goodbye.